back at it. You know what I'm saying? This is Black is Gold, episode 24, the Black Panther Party, all right? I got a lot to get through in this one, okay? But I'm going to get through it. I'm going to knock it out, you know what I mean, as I always do, you know, so that I can move on and do other things today, all right? You know what I mean? So, yes, this is Black is Gold, episode 24, the Black Panther Party, all right? Now, the Black Panther Party. DPP, originally the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, was a Marxist, Leninist, and Black Power political organization. Founded by college student Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton in October 1966 in Oakland, California. The party was active in the United States between 1966 and 1982, with chapters in many major American cities, including San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Philadelphia. They were also active in many prisons and had international chapters in the United Kingdom and Algeria. Didn't know that. Wow, okay. Upon its inception, the party's core practices was open carry patrols, cop watching, designed to challenge the excessive force and misconduct of the Oakland Police Department. From 1969 onward, the party created social programs including the free breakfast for children programs, education programs, and community health clinics. The Black Panther Party advocated for class struggle, claiming to represent the proletarian vanguard. All right, proletarian vanguard. All right, let's get into it, y'all. 1969, J. Edgar Hoover, director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, described the party as the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. What? Okay, the FBI scapegoated. I'm sorry. This is scapegoated. I'm sorry. The FBI sabotaged the party with an illegal and covert counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, of surveillance, infiltration, perjury, police harassment, all designed to undermine and criminalize the party. Wow. The FBI was also involved in the 1969 assassinations of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, who were transcended and arraigned by the Chicago Police Department. Black Panther Party members were involved in many fatal firefights with police. Huey Newton allegedly transcended Officer John Frey in 1967. Eldridge Cleaver, Minister of Information, led an ambush in 1968 of Oakland police officers. Yeah, Eldridge Cleaver. Look, man, he was no joke, all right? He got a book called Soul on Ice, all right? Definitely read that. That book is the bomb, all right? He's saying a lot of things in that book, all right? Which two officers were wounded, and Panther treasurer Bobby Hutton was transcended. The party suffered many internal conflicts, including resulting in the transcendence of Alex Rackley and Betty Van Patter. Okay? Government persecution initially contributed to the party's growth among African Americans and the political left, who both valued the party as a powerful force against de facto segregation and U.S. military drive during the Vietnam War. Party membership peaked in 1970 and gradually declined over the next decade due to vilification by the mainstream press and infighting largely fomented by the COINTELPRO. Support further declined over reports of the party's alleged criminal activities such as drug dealing and extortion. The party's history is controversial. Scholars characterize the Black Panther Party as the most influential Black power organization of the late 1960s and the strongest link between the domestic Black liberation struggle and global opponents of American imperialism. Other scholars have described the party as more criminal than political, characterized by defiant posturing over substance. Wow. Man, so the original 6 members of the party, I'm just going to read these people real quick. Albert Big Man Howard, okay. Huey P. Newton, okay. Sherman Forte, Bobby Seale, Reggie Fort, and Little Bobby Hutton. All right, those were the original members. Okay. Let me continue. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on. During the World War II, tens of thousands of Black people left the southern states during the Second Great Migration, moved to Oakland and other cities in the Bay Area to find work in the war industry, such as Kaiser shipyards. The sweeping migration transformed the Bay Area as well as cities throughout the West and North, alerting the once white-dominated demographics. A new generation of young Black people growing up in the cities face new forms of poverty and racism unfamiliar to their parents, and they sought to develop new forms of politics to address them. Black Panther Party membership consisted of recent migrants whose families traveled north and west to escape the Southern racial regime, only to be confronted with new forms of segregation and repression. In the early 1960s, the Civil Rights Movement had dismantled the Jim Crow system of racial caste subordination in the South with tactics of nonviolent civil disobedience and demanded full citizenship rights for Black people. However, not much changed in the cities of the North and West. As the wartime and post-war jobs, which drew much of the Black migration, fled to the suburbs along with white residents, the Black population was concentrated in poor urban ghettos with high unemployment and subsidized housing. It was mostly excluded from political representation, top universities, and the middle class. Northern and Western police departments were almost all white. In 1966, only 16 of Oakland's 661 police officers were African American, less than 2.5%. Wow. Civil rights tactics proved incapable of addressing these conditions, and an organization that had led much of the nonviolent civil disobedience, such as SNCC and CORE, went into decline. By 1966, a Black Power ferment emerged, consisting largely of young urban Black people, posing the question for the civil rights movement could not answer. How will Black people in America win not only formal citizenship rights, but actual economic and political power? That's been a question for a long time. It's still a question today. All right. Young black people in Oakland and other cities developed study groups and political organizations. And from this ferment, the Black Panther Party emerged. All right. In late October 1966, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale founded the Black Panther Party. Originally, the Black Panther Party for self-defense. And formulating a new politics, they drew on their work with a variety of Black Power organizations. Newton and Seale first met in 1962 when they were both students at Merritt College. They joined Donald Warner's African American Association, where they widely debated and organized in an emerging Black nationalist tradition inspired by Malcolm X and others. Eventually dissatisfied with Warner's accommodationism, they developed a revolutionary anti-imperialist perspective, working with more active and militant groups like the Soul Students, Adversary Council, and the Revolutionary Action Movement. Their paid jobs run a youth service programs at the North Oakland Neighborhood Anti-Poverty Center, allowing them to develop a revolutionary nationalist approach to community service, later a key element in the Black Panthers community survivor programs. Dissatisfied with the failure of these organizations to directly challenge police brutality and appeal to the brothers on the block, Huey and Bobby took matters into their own hands. After the police transcended Matthew Johnson, an unarmed young Black man in San Francisco, knew and observed the violent insurrection that followed. He had an epiphany that would distinguish the Black Panther Party from the multitude of Black Power organizations. Newman said the explosive, rebellious anger of the ghetto as a social force, and believed that if he could stand up to the police, he would organize that force into political power. Inspired by Robert F. Williams' Armed Resistance to the Ku Klux Klan and Williams' book Negroes with Guns, Newman studied gun laws in California extensively. Like the Community Alert Patrol in Los Angeles after the Watts Rebellion, he decided to organize patrols to follow the police around to monitor for incidents of brutality. With a crucial difference, these patrols would carry loaded guns. Huey and Bobby raised enough money to buy 2 shotguns by buying book quantities of the recently publicized Mayo of Little Red book and reselling them to leftists and liberals on the Berkeley campus at 3 times the price. According to Bobby Seale, they would sell the books, make the money, buy the guns, and go on the streets with guns. We'll protect the mother, protect the brother, protect the community from racist cops. On October 29, 1966, Stokely Carmichael, a leader of NCC, championed the call for Black Power and came to Berkeley to keynote a Black Power conference. At the time, he was promoting the armed organization efforts of the Lawrence County Freedom Organization, Alabama, and the use of the Black Panther symbol. Salute to set the record straight. You know what I mean? That's Darrell Long's network with along with his people. Salute to them. Salute, brother. Salute. All right. Newton and Seale decided to adopt the Black Panther logo and form their own organization called the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Newton and Seale decided on a uniform of blue shirts, black pants, black leather jackets, black berets. 16-year-old Bobby Hunter was their first recruit. All right. By January 1967, the BPP opened its first official headquarters in the Oakland storefront and published the first issue of the Black Panther Black Community News Service. You know what I mean? Salute, bro. Salute. All right. Now, let's keep getting into it because it's about to get real. All right. The initial tactic of the party utilized contemporary open carry laws to protect party members when policing the police. The act was done to record incidents of police brutality by distantly following police cars around neighborhoods. When confronted by a police officer, party members cited the laws proving they have done nothing wrong and threatened to take to court any officer that violated constitutional rights. Between the end of 1966 and the start of 1967, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense armed police patrols in Oakland black communities attracted a small handful of members. Numbers grew slightly starting in February 1967 when the party provided an armed escort at the San Francisco airport for Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's widow and keynote speaker for a conference held in his honor. But the Black Panthers' focus on militancy was often construed as open hostility, feeding a reputation of violence, even though early efforts by the party focused primarily on promoting social issues and exercise their legal rights to carry arms. The Panthers employed a California law that permitted carrying a loaded rifle or shotgun as long as it was publicly displayed and pointed at no one. Generally, it was done while monitoring and observing police behavior in the neighborhoods. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Wally. Round two. I gotta do round two, man. I gotta catch up on these. All right. It may be around three pretty soon. I don't know, but you can kind of count on me around three. All right. All right. While the Panthers arguing that the emphasis on active militancy and openly carrying their weapons when necessary to protect individuals from police violence. For example, chants like "The revolution has come. It's time to pick up the gun. Off the pigs." Help create the Panthers' reputation as a violent organization. All right, let's get into the rallies. So they have rallies in Richmond, California, right? All right, and then I'm gonna get into the protests at the State House. All right. Awareness of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense grew rapidly after the May 2nd, 1967 protest at the California State Assembly. On May 2nd, 1967, the California State Assembly Committee on Criminal Procedure was scheduled to convene to discuss what was known as the Mulford Act, which would make the public carry of loaded firearms illegal. Noon, when Minister of Information Eldridge Cleaver put together a plan that sent a group of 26 armed Panthers led by Sil from Oakland to Sacramento to protest the bill. The group entered the assembly carrying the weapons, an incident which was widely publicized and which promoted police to arrest Sil and 5 others. The group pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges of disrupting the legislative session. At the time of the protest, the party had fewer than 100 members in total. Wow. In 1967, the Mulford Act was passed by the California legislation and signed by Governor Ronald Reagan. The bill was crafted in response to the members of the Black Panther Party who were cop watching. The bill repealed a law that allowed the public carrying of loaded firearms. Wow. All right, they started something called the 10-point program. All right, do your research on that. Okay, so let's continue into the story. All right, in August 1967, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is the FBI, instructed its program COINTELPRO to neutralize Black nationalist hate groups and other dissenting groups. In September 1968, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover described the Black Panthers as the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. Wow, that's insane. In 1969, the Black Panthers and their allies had become primary COINTELPRO targets, singled out in the 233 of the 295 authorized Black nationalist COINTELPRO actions. The goals of the program were to prevent the unification of militant Black nationalist groups and to weaken their leadership, as well as to discredit them to reduce their support and growth. The initial targets include the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Revolutionary Action Movement, and the Nation of Islam, as well as leaders including the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Maxwell Stanford, and Elijah Muhammad. As Assistant FBI Director, William Sullivan later testified in front of the Church Committee, the Bureau did not differentiate between Soviet spies and suspected communists and Black nationalist movements with deploying surveillance and neutralizing tactics. Wow. That's wow. COINTELPRO intended to create rivalry between Black nationalist factions and to exploit existing ones. One such attempt was to justify the degree of animosity between the Black Panthers and the Blackstone Rangers, a Chicago street gang. The FBI sent an anonymous letter to the Rangers gang leader claiming that the Panthers threatened his life, a letter whose intent was to provoke preemptive violence against Panther leadership. In Southern California, hold on one second, hold on. In Southern California, the FBI made similar efforts to exacerbate a gang war between the Black Panther Party and a Black nationalist group called the U.S. Organization. As Leslie sent a proactive letter to U.S. Organization to increase resistance and antagonism. COINTELPRO also claimed to dismantle the Black Panther Party while targeting the social community programs, including the Free Breakfast for Children program, whose success has served to shed light on the government's failure to address child poverty and hunger, pointing to the limits of the nation's war on poverty. According to Bloom and Martin, the FBI denounced the party's efforts as a means of indoctrination because the party taught and provided for children more effectively with the government. Police and federal agents regularly harassed and intimidated program participants, supporters, and party workers to sort to scare away donors and organizations that house the programs like churches and community centers. Black Panther members were involved in many fatal firefights with police. So Huey P. Newton, he declared Malcolm impeccably to the ultimate degree held out to the black masses. Liberation from the chains of the oppressor and the treacherous embrace of the endorsed black spokesman. Only with the gun were the black masses denied the victory. But they learned from Malcolm that with the gun, they can recapture their dreams and bring them into reality. Okay? Now, I'm gonna get into, when Huey Newton went through his little phase with the transcendence of John Ferry and that whole thing, all right? On October 28, 1967, Oakland police officer John Ferry was transcended in an altercation with Huey P. Newton during a traffic stop, in which Newton and backup officer Herbert Hands also sustained gunshot wounds. Newton was convicted of involuntary manslaughter at trial, but the conviction was later overturned. In his book, Shadow of the Panther, writer Huey Pearson alleged that Newton was intoxicated in the hours before the incident and claimed to have willfully transcended John Ferry. Wow. At the time, Newton claimed that he had been falsely accused leading to the Panther Free Huey campaign. The police transcendence gained the party even wider recognition by the radical American left and assimilated the group of the Panther Party nationwide. Newton was released after 3 years when his conviction was reversed on an appeal. As Newton awaited trial, the Free Huey campaign developed alliances with numerous students and anti-war activists, advancing an anti-imperialist political ideology that linked the oppression of anti-war protesters to the oppression of blacks and Vietnamese. The Free Huey campaign attracted black power organizations, new left groups, and other activist groups such as the Progressive Labor Party. Bob Abigail was a community for new politics and a Red Guard. For example, the Black Panther Party collaborated with the Peace and Freedom Party, which sought to promote a stronger anti-war and anti-racist politics in opposition to the established Democratic Party. The Black Panther Party provided new legitimacy to the Peace and Freedom Party's racial politics and in return received invaluable support for the Free Huey campaign. All right, so after that, they found the LA chapter. All right, so now we're going to get into the whole Bobby Hunting thing, okay? And his transcendence, all right? Bobby James Hunting was born April 21st, 1950 in Jefferson County, Arkansas. At the age of 3, he and his family moved to Oakland, California after being harassed by vigilante groups associated with the Ku Klux Klan. In December 1966, he became the first treasurer and recruiter of the Black Panther Party at the age of just 16 years old. Wow. On April 6, 1968, 2 days after the transcendence of Donald Luther King Jr., riots raged across cities in the United States. 17-year-old Hunting was traveling with Edward Cleaver and BPP members in a car. The group confronted Oakland police officers, then fled to an apartment building where they engaged in a 90-minute gun battle with the police. The standoff ended with Cleaver wounded and Hunting voluntarily surrendered, according to Cleaver. Although Hunting had stripped down to his underwear and had his hands raised in the air to prove that he was unarmed, Oakland police shot Hunting more than 12 times, transcending him. Wow. That's wild. 2 police officers were also shot. He became the first member of the party to be transcended by police. All at the time, the BPP claimed that the police had ambushed him. Several party members later admitted that Cleaver had led the Panther group on a deliberate ambush to the police officers, provoking a shootout. Several other Panthers, including Chief of Staff David Hiller, were also arrested. Hunting's transcendence became a rallying issue for Panther supporters. That's wild, man. That is wild. The brother came out in his underwear, no guns, no nothing, and he still, wow, that's wild, man. He was only 17. That's crazy. All right. So in 68, they did a lot of different things, y'all. All right. Okay. All right. There's a lot of chapters that they opened up in 68. They expanded. Okay, in Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Kansas City, LA, Newark, New Jersey, New Orleans, New York City, Omaha, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, all right, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Toledo, and Washington, D.C., okay? All right? And it was near 5,000 by 1969, okay? So they really grew between 68 and 69, okay? All right, so then, they started up this thing called the Survivor Programs. All right, and this was with the free breakfast program for the children. All right, they got that started. You know what I mean? In 1968, BPP Minister of Information Eldridge Cleaver ran for presidential office on a Peace and Freedom Party ticket. They were a big influence on the White Panther Party, tied to the Detroit Ann Arbor band MC5 and their manager John Sinclair, author of the book Guitar Army, which also promulgated a 10-point program. All right, so they had that. In '69, they also had a lot of other chapters in that nature. All right, so violent conflict between the Panther chapter in LA and the U.S. organization, a black nationalist group, resulted in shootings and beatings and led to the transcendence of at least 4 Black Panther Party members. On January 7, 1969, Los Angeles Panther captain Bunchy Carter and Deputy Minister John Huggins were transcended in Campbell Hall on the UCLA campus. Wow. And a gun battle with members of the U.S. organization. Another shootout between the two groups on March 17 led to further injuries. 2 more Panthers transcended. Man. Wow. So, So they opened up a liberation school, okay? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And that helped, to teach the youth and all that. All right. They also had an open community school. You know what I'm saying? They opened that in 1974. The school closed in 1982 due to governmental pressure on party leadership, all right, which caused insufficient membership and funds to continue, running the school. So they couldn't afford to do it. And then, the government, got involved and did their whole thing. You know what I mean? They basically, they basically made the school fail. They destroyed the school, you know what I'm saying? Which is sad. All right, so let's get into more history of the Black Panthers, all right? In Chicago, on December 4th, 1969, 2 Panthers were transcended Chicago police raided the home of Panther leader Fred Hampton. The raid had been orchestrated by police in conjunction with the FBI. Hampton was shot and transcended, as was Panthers guard Mark Clark. A federal investigation reported that only 1 shot was fired by the Panthers, and police fired at least 80 shots. Wow. The only shot fired by the Panthers was from Mark Clark, who appeared to fire a single round determined to be a result of a reflexive death convulsion after he was immediately struck in the chest by shots from the police at the start of the raid. Hampton was sleeping next to his pregnant fiancée and was subsequently shot twice in the head at point-blank range while unconscious. Wow. Coroner reports show that Hampton was drugged with a powerful barbituric that night and would have been unable to have been awoken by the sound of the police raid. His body was then dragged to the hallway. He was 21 years old and unarmed at the time of his death, of his transcendence. Seven other Panthers sleeping at the house at the time of the raid were then beaten and seriously wounded. Then arrested under charges of aggravated assault and attempted transcendence of the officers involved in the raid. The charges will later be dropped. Cook County State Attorney Edward Hannaran announced to the media later that the Panthers were first to shoot in an interaction, and they showed a refusal to cease firing. Wow. Were urged to do so several times. New York Times reporting will later demonstrate this was not in fact the case and found a great deal of fake evidence being used by Chicago police to assert their claims. Former FBI agent Wesley Swearingen asserts that the Bureau was guilty of a plot to transcend the Panthers. Hampton had been slipped the Burberry trace, which had left him unconscious, by William O'Neill, who had been working as an FBI informant. Wow. Hannaran, his assistant, and 8 Chicago police officers were indicted by a federal grand jury over the raid, but the charges were later dismissed. Whoa. In 1979, civil rights action, Hampton's family won $1.85 million from the city of Chicago in a wrongful transcendence settlement. Okay, let's keep going, y'all. In May 1969, 3 members of the New Haven chapter tortured and transcended Alex Rackley, a 19-year-old member of the New York chapter, became suspected him of being a police informant. 3 party officers, Warren Kimball, George Sam Jr., and Lonnie Lucas, later admitted taking part. Sams, who gave the order to shoot Rackley at the transcendence scene, turned state evidence to testify that he had received orders personally from Bobby Seals to carry out the execution. Party supporters responded that Sams was himself the informant and an agent, provocateur, employed by the FBI. The case resulted in the New Haven Black Panther trial of 1970. Kimbrough Sams and Moot Lucas were convicted of the transgender. The trials of Seal, Erica Huggins ended with a hung jury, and the prosecution chose not to seek another trial. All right, so then they also have international trials. Okay, they did a lot of international travel in the year of 1970. All right. Okay, so let's get into more of the history. All right, we're gonna focus the BPP on the party's Oakland School and various other social service programs. In early 71, the BPP founded the Intercommunal Youth Institute in 1971 with the intent of demonstrating how Black youth ought to be educated. Erica Huggins was the director of the school, and Regina Davis was an administrator. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. The school was unique. That it did not have the grade levels, but instead had different skill levels. So an 11-year-old could be in second level English, and fifth level science. Elaine Brown taught reading and writing to a group of 10 and 11-year-olds deemed uneducated by the system. The school children were given free busing, breakfast, lunch and dinner, books and school supplies. Children were taken to have medical checkups. Many children were given free clothes. All right, let's get into more of the history. So this is when things kind of, they've already been through enough, but this is when things get really, really crazy, y'all. All right. Significant disagreements among the party's leaders over how to confront ideological differences led to a split within the party. Certain members felt that the Black Panthers should participate in local government and social services, while others encouraged constant conflict with the police. But some of the party's supporters, the separation among political action, criminal activities, social services, access to power, and grassroots identity became confusing and contradictory as the Panthers' political momentum was bogged down in the criminal justice system. These and other disagreements led to a split. In January 1971, Newton expelled Geronimo Pratt, who since 1971 had been in jail facing a pending transcendence charge. Newton also expelled two of the New York 21 and his own secretary, Connie Matthews, who flee the country. Some Panther leaders such as Eugene P. Norton and David Hillard favored a focus on community services, coupled with self-defense. Others such as Eldridge Cleaver embraced a more confrontational strategy. In February 71, Eldridge Cleaver deepened the schism in the party when he publicly criticized the party for adopting a reformist rather than a revolutionary agenda and called for Hillard's removal. Cleaver was expelled from the Central Committee but went on to lead a splinter group, the Black Liberation Army, which had previously existed as an underground paramilitary wing of the party. The split turned violent as the Newton and Cleaver faction carried out retaliatory assassinations of each other's members, resulting in the transcendence of 4 people. From mid to late 1971, hundreds of members throughout the country quit the Black Panther Party. In May 71, Bobby Seale was acquitted of ordering the Iraqi transcendence and returns to Oakland. Oh man, so they had a delegation to China. All right. Okay. All right. So let's continue to get into it, y'all. So the Big Rick Slaps. Big Rick, what's going on? In early 1972, the party began closing down dozens of chapters and branches all over the country and bringing members and operations to Oakland. The political arm of the Southern California chapter was shut down, and its members moved to Oakland. Although the underground military arm remained for a time, the underground remnants of the LA chapter, which had emerged from the Slauson Streets gang, eventually reemerged as the Crips, the street gang who at first advocated social reform before devolving into racketeering. Wow. Minister of Education Ray Masu Hewitt created the Buddha Samurai, the party underground secretary, Carday in Oakland. Newton expelled Hewitt from the party late in 1972, but the security Carday remained in operation under the leadership of Flores Forbes. One of the Carday's main functions was to extort and rob drug dealers in after-hours clubs. The party developed a 5-year plan to take over the city of Oakland politically and focus nearly of its resources on winning political power in the Oakland city government. Bobby Seale ran for mayor, Elaine Brown ran for city council, and other Panthers ran for minor offices. Neither Seale nor Brown were elected, and many party members resigned after the losses. Although a few Panthers won seats on local government commissions, Following electoral defeat, Newton embarked on major purge on the party in early 1974, expelling Bobby and John Seale, David and June Hilliard, Robert Bay, and numerous other top party leaders. Dozens of other Panthers loyal to Seale resigned or deserted. Wow. In 1974, Huey Newton and 8 other Panthers were arrested and charged with assault on police officers. In August 1974, Newton went into exile in Cuba to avoid prosecution for the transcendence of Kathleen Smith, 18-year-old prostitute. Newton was also indicted for pistol whipping his sailor, Preston Callins. Although Newton confided to his friends that Kathleen Smith was the first non-political transcendence, he was ultimately acquitted. At one witness's testimony was impeached by her admission that she had been smoking marijuana on the night of the transcendence. Other prostitutes were witness recanted her testimony. Newton also was acquitted of assaulting Preston Collins after Collins refused to press charges. All right, so let's get into it. Let's keep going. In 1974, as Huey Newton prepared to go to exile in Cuba, he appointed Elaine Brown as the first chairwoman of the party. Under Brown's leadership, the party became involved in organizing for more radical electoral campaigns, including Brown's 1975 unsuccessful run for Oakland City Council. The party supported Lionel Wilson in his successful election as the first black mayor of Oakland. In exchange for Wilson's assistance in having criminal charges dropped against party member Flores Ford, leaders of the Buddha Samurai Carde, in addition to changing the party's direction towards more involvement in the electoral arena, Brown also increased the influence of women Panthers by placing them in more visible roles with a previous male-dominated organization. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. All right, y'all. So let's get into more stuff, all right? Panther leader Elaine Brown hired Betty Van Patter in 1974 as a bookkeeper. Van Patter had previously served as a bookkeeper from Ramparts magazine and was introduced to the party leadership by David Horowitz, who had been the editor of Ramparts and a major fundraiser and board member of the Panther School. Later that year, after the dispute with Brown over financial irregularities, Van Patter went missing on December 13, 1974. Some weeks later, a severely beaten corpse was found on the San Francisco Bay Beach. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. There was sufficient evidence for police to charge anyone with Van Patter's transcendence, but the Black Panther leadership was almost universally believable to be responsible. Huey Newton later allegedly confessed to a friend that he had ordered Van Patter's transcendence and that Van Patter had been tortured and raped before being killed. Whoa. That is wild. FBI files investigating Van Patter were destroyed in 2009 for reasons the FBI has declined to provide. You know, it's crazy, man. You know, like I said, when people get into leadership positions or just in positions where they have a lot on their back, it's a lot for them to handle, man. So I think with Huey Newton, man, and even with a lot of the leaders of the Black Panther Party, I think even if we saw on ICE, even with Eldridge Cleaver, you could see they couldn't handle all these things that was given to them, man. They couldn't handle it. They just couldn't handle it. You know what I'm saying? It was too much pressure. They had all that pressure from them, you know, in regards to just battling the government. Then you have other, people who have other, movements and things of that nature that's also around. You know, there's pressure to improve the community because the community is to be improved. And then there's internal pressure because you want to live up to that, right? But I think if they just would have just stuck to what they were doing in the beginning, staying focused, helping the community, and if they wanted to do extra stuff, they just could have. But I think what happened was also ego, right? Because when you start a party, you start a movement, right? Unfortunately, with our people, there always has to be something about an ego, right? Somebody always got to feel that they got to be top dog, right? It can never be where we all just are able to just shine and do what we got to do. No, somebody got to be top dog all the time. So I think that came to a play too, man. So ego, pressures and dealing with the government, fighting the government, internal pressures and ego that led to everything falling apart. So let's get into it, y'all. We almost done. In 1977, Newton returned from exile in Cuba and received complaints from male members about the excessive number of power women in the organization who now outnumber men. According to Elaine Brown, Newman authorized the physical punishment of school administrator Regina Davis for scolding a male coworker. Davis was hospitalized with a broken jaw. Brown said the beating of Regina would be taken as a clear signal that the words Panther and comrade had taken a gender connotation, donating an inferiority in the female half of U.S. Brown resigned from the party and fled to L.A. Although many scholars and activists date the party's downfall to the period between Brown's leadership, a shrinking cardiac of Panther struggled through the 1970s. By 1980, Panther membership had dwindled to 27, and the Panther-sponsored Oakland Community School closed in 82 amid a scandal over Newman embezzling funds for drug addiction, which marked the formal end of the Black Panther Party. Oh, man. So, that's the history of the Black Panthers, y'all. You know what I mean? They did a lot of great things. You know what I mean? And they really tried to improve the community. I think overall, what they were striving for and just what they were trying to go after, you can't deny the impact of the Black Panthers, right? You can't deny what they meant to the community and what they meant to our people. But I think in that, when you develop a mission and you develop something that you're striving for in order to improve the quality of life around you, especially during those times, they faced a lot of different things and a lot of pressure. But overall, they were a signal and an embodiment, and a symbol of strength, of unity, and also of us as a people striving to do better. By whatever means they needed to do it, whether they had to gather up arms, whatever, and they was willing to put their life on the line. And most of their members, they faced the ultimate sacrifice, man. They gave their lives for this, right? For us. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't have to do that. They could have just went along with it. You see Martin doing his thing, you see Malcolm, they could have just sat in the back and chilled and just kind of, see what things happen. But they didn't do that, man. They continued to fight and they continued to do what they had to do to improve the community. I don't agree with all their methods, and I don't agree with everything that they've done. Or everything that they try to do. But I would say they definitely embody the phrase "Black is gold." Salute to the Black Panther Party. Salute to Huey P. Newton, all of these are the Black Panther Party men who were striving to do good. I know, a lot of them kind of took it a little too far at times. Huey Newton and the rest of them kind of sometimes took it too far. I think overall they really did want to improve our community and really help our people. But I think in that, sometimes, like I said, with the egos and everything else and the pressures from the government and your own internal pressures and the pressure of the community, I think it was a little too much for them to handle. With that being said, y'all, this is Black is Gold, episode 24, the Black Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. With that, I am out. DJ.